to Port Harcourt. The initiative by the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Allocation Commission to correct the anomalies in its data have been commended by Governor Nyesom Wike. The governor gave the commendation when he granted audience to a delegation from the commission led by Alhaji Muhammad Kabiru Usman at Government House, Port Harcourt. Ogeniekwe completes the report.
Governor Wike is appreciative of the fact that the Commission has recognized their responsibility to pay Rivers State its due entitlement from the Soku oil well. He set the record straight on the present ownership status. The governor also suggested a new revenue regime where the states would earn more revenue than the federal government because of their enormous responsibilities.
Soku oil well does not belong to Bayelsa. Soku oil well belongs to Rivers. The matter was the Supreme Court, and National Budget Commission admitted that they made an error in the edition they published in the 11th edition, that they made an error, that they will correct it. And Supreme Court said, okay, if the body that is saddled with the responsibility of boundary demarcation has said, look, we made an error, so there's no need to go into the merits of the matter. And therefore, we hope that the National Budget Commission will correct that error in their next edition. The National Budget Commission went ahead and published the 12th edition without correcting that error. So we had to go back to the Federal High Court to say, look, how can you publish this when you have admitted?
Leader of the delegation, Alhaji Muhammad Kabiru Usman, said they are in the state for advocacy and sensitization.
When we come as commissioners, we look at the data that was collected, that was analyzed. We found that data to be highly spurious. Felt that to implement that, it is amounting to cheating some states.
Alhaji Usman said this sensitization will help to forestall further mistakes on the data from the states. In Port Harcourt, Ogedinyekwe, NTA News.
Minister of the Niger Delta Development Commission, Senator Godswill Akpabio, has described the newly furnished NDDC headquarters as a great achievement of President Muhammadu Buhari and a show of his love and concern for the Niger Delta region. The minister made this remark during a tour of the edifice in the company of key stakeholders of the ministry. Austin Abraham reports.
Construction of the headquarters building of the Niger Delta Development Commission, situated at Eastern Bypass, Marine Base, Port Harcourt, began over 20 years ago. Today, the story is different. This is because President Muhammadu Buhari has demonstrated commitment in ensuring that the project is completed and put to use. A milestone the Minister of Niger Delta, Senator Akpabio, and Professor Ponde led Interim Management Committee is proud of. The tour of the facility by Senator Akpabio is to assess the level of work on the edifice.
We bring the suffering of the people to an end. And on the final note, I must say that I'm delighted with what I've seen here. I congratulate the construction companies that are handling this job. I think NAP, Raycon and others. For the focus, the outside, the landscaping is fantastic. Added an ancillary building, which we want to use in generating revenue. You said you will carry banking hall, you will also carry restaurants and all that, and some offices. So for me, this is progress, and this is the kind of thing I like to see.
The minister was accompanied by the permanent secretary of his ministry, Dr. Babayo Ado. The 13-story building with state-of-the-art facility is designed with modern security and safety systems, access control, and underground fire system, amongst others. In Port Harcourt, Osinachi Abraham, NTA News.
And that does it from Port Harcourt. Is back to Najatu for the rest of the news. Good evening.
Good evening and thank you. The Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio, has inaugurated the Security Committee for Field Forensic Auditors of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC. Briefing members of the committee drawn from the military and paramilitary agencies on the importance of the task ahead, Akpabio said a total of 185 local government areas are expected to be visited during the exercise, noting that the period under scrutiny is from 2001 to 2019.
importance of your committee, in my mind, to the success of the forensic audit exercise cannot be overemphasized. So, considering the various interests and the desperation of some people, 185 DPOs, divisional police officers or more, may need to be co-opted by your committee into ensuring adequate security, local government by local government in the region. So it's a very extensive exercise. So I stated, you come up with the operational order for the exercise, and then of course we want to avert any unpleasant incidents so that there will be no loss of life or documents or otherwise.
Joseph Johnson reports that the minister solicited cooperation from the political class, traditional rulers, youth and the entire region towards achieving a seamless forensic auditing exercise. Meanwhile, representatives of the security agencies have pledged their commitment to the cause. The National Population Commission is set to carry out an enumeration area demarcation exercise in Yala local government area of Cross River State to generate transparent and adequate data by grouping communities into sizable units using modern technology. Julius reports.
16 years after the last pre-consensus activity held in the country, the Buhari-led administration has set in motion to embark on an enumeration area demarcation by the National Population Commission in Cross River State to create a standardized national framework. The exercise, to be conducted in Yala local government area of Cross River State, will kickstart with training of 70 functionaries from the 5th to the 9th of October, while the field work holds between the 10th to 22nd October 2020.
To divide the local government into smaller units so that during census, the people that will do the counting, it will be easier for them to count. We are not doing boundary adjustments during this exercise. And it is good that everybody is interested in this exercise because it is an activity that will drive a successful census.
This pre-census activity of enumeration area demarcation will go a very long way to ensuring that the census proper, the biometric census, takes place very, very properly.
The Commission is therefore appealing to traditional leaders, community heads and stakeholders to support in making the exercise a success. In Calabar, Cecilia Julius, NTA News.
New figures from the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, reveal 187 new cases of COVID-19 in the country, bringing the total number of confirmed cases to 58,647. Of the 187 new cases, Lagos has 74. Plateau and Rivers State have 25 each. Gombe and the FCT confirmed 19 new cases each. Osun has 10. Kaduna 5. Borno 3. Ogun and Katsina recorded 2 each, while Nasarawa, Bayelsa and Edo states recorded 1 new case. In the breakdown of cases by state, Lagos now has 19,384 total confirmed cases. The FCT has 5,696 cases, while Plateau State now has 3,425 cases. 49,937 patients have been discharged, while 1,111 deaths have been recorded. Meanwhile, to support frontliners in the containment of COVID-19, the Victim Support Fund has donated ICT equipment worth 150 million naira to the COVID-19 Secretariat of the Ministry of Health, with an assurance to do more and support ministries, departments and agencies at all levels in any way possible in the fight against COVID-19 in the country. Hamman Jabani reports.
The support by the Victim Support Fund will also be to the Ministerial Advisory Committee on COVID-19, support for development and management of national pandemic, and the renovation of the Federal Ministry of Health elevators. The fund will also provide Wi-Fi and data for Zoom, which are all geared towards ensuring adequate data for infected and affected persons are properly captured and stored, as well as effective coordination.
We believe that healthcare is not just about, providing medications and drugs. The human capital and the quality of the human capacity within the ministry would determine to a very long extent, the successes that, the ministry is going to achieve in, fighting the, COVID-19 pandemic.
As we develop the thoughts that the ministry has to develop in how to protect our country, and we are very grateful to have groups and organizations that give us this support and the confidence that we are not working alone.
They all commended Nigerians, but warned on the need not to relax as the pandemic is yet to be conquered. Hamad Jabani, NTA News.
And still in COVID-19, the pandemic has made a strong case for government at all levels in Nigeria to improve funding to the health sector, with the target of achieving efficient surveillance and rapid case detection and response in case of any future outbreak. Now, this was the resolution of speakers at the closeout dissemination seminar on strengthening epidemic response and systems project held virtually at the Nigeria Center for Disease Control headquarters in Abuja. Olusheye Adiabo reports.
Collection of data for disease outbreak and control before the coming of strengthening epidemic response and system SARS project to Nigeria was said to be complex, as the manual process was a massive and time-consuming exercise. The experience continued for a while until 2015, when the United States Center for Disease Control and Prevention, USCDC, in conjunction with University of Maryland, Baltimore, UMB, decided to help Nigeria with the SARS project. And now that the project, which cost the international partner about $5 million in its 5 years of implementation, nears its end, how has it helped in changing the narrative, and why the choice of Nigeria?
And developed digital systems for us, which have then been implemented here, which we now use to collect data around the country. We use this data every day to understand the state of health of our population and make decisions. And
Nigeria being what it is, we're the largest, country in Africa, and the largest population. If we don't get it right in Nigeria, then it will be very difficult to get it right in Africa.
Coordinator Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, Dr. Sani Aliu, notes that thanks to the pandemic, Nigerians must now know that no amount of funding for the health sector is too much.
It is amazing how much can be achieved when there is a partnership and collaboration.
The meeting marks the end of SARS projects in Nigeria, but the University of Maryland, Baltimore is already making progress with the next phase of partnership. The university will be working with the Institute of Human Biology for an intervention to further strengthen surveillance and response in Nigeria. In Abuja, Olusheye Adiagbo, NTA News.
And on the security front, the Directorate of Defense Media Operations, DMO, says several terrorists have been neutralized and their hideouts and logistic structures destroyed by the Air Task Force of Operation Laifia Aduli at Tumbuma Baba, one of the island settlements on the fringes of Lake Chad in Borno State, which served as a logistics hub for Islamic State of West Africa Province elements. In a statement by DMO Coordinator Major General John Enenche, the airstrikes were executed on 29 September 2020 under ongoing subsidiary Operation Hailstorm 2. Human intelligence reports indicated that several ISWAP fighters and some of their leaders had converged in some structures concealed under the thick vegetation of the area, preparing to launch an attack. But Nigerian Air Force fighter jets and helicopter gunships engaged the location, killing several terrorists and destroying their structures. Meanwhile, the need for urgent amendment of the Act establishing the National Gallery of Art has been stressed. The Director General of the agency, Mr. Ebete Nvara, who is advocating this, says it will help the parastatal to attain its potentials.
Having studied the situation carefully, I am convinced that amending the Act will be a great starting point in making Nigerian Gallery of Arts meaningfully to the general well-being of artists in the country, as well as generate revenue for the federal government of Nigeria. All public buildings and bridges will be required statutorily to be embellished. At all public buildings, you have bridges. The arts that is coming up will give us the enablement to embellish them, and that could form a way of generating revenue.
He further proposes the diversification of art collections from local and international communities to enrich the content of the proposed National Gallery edifice.
Display our artwork. Visual artists will now have alternative space to exhibit their works. In the same vein, government will begin to earn revenue as fees will be charged on visitors who come around to view.
The National Gallery of Art is a federal government parastatal established in 1993 with the responsibility of collecting, preserving, documenting and presenting Nigeria's contemporary art. And up next is Sports Update.